What up, Marsh Pod? We're recording this. It's Friday, November 10th. We are inching ever so much closer to the NBA, or the NBA season's underway. SimWorld prep season getting underway here at the beginning of next month. So as everyone, this is preview, this is prediction time. We're unveiling, and as a full, we're not doing power rankings this season. We didn't do them last year. We will bring back the pointless power rankings, though, because those are different. But before we get to that, which we'll probably do in the next couple weeks, today we're unveiling the inaugural disappointment rankings. Top 5 teams, it's all we're sticking it to. And these are the teams that, if they don't win a SimWorld Prep championship, that's the disappointment. They are ranking from 5th to most disappointing that they don't win a championship. Some of these coaches don't even want to win a championship. They've made it clear. They just want to develop guys. That's all they care about. They could go winless, but so long as their guys have fun and get a little bit better, they are winners in their book. So it's different than that group. So I understand some guys are very much against counting wins and losses, but they just count development points. They can have it. We're talking wins and losses. So top 5, again, purely disappointment if this team does not win it. The 5th most disappointment would be Beasts of the East. Seems low, I know, but the defending champions, of course, want to get back there. No team, spoiler alert, no team in the 2 years of SimWorld Prep existence has gone back-to-back. Shocking, I know, can you believe it? But here we are, breaking news. So you've got that first opportunity. But this is a team that brings back a lot of the talent that they had a season ago. You've got Levin Cutler back in the fold. You've got a team that's added some good pieces. Isaiah James is positioned. Kazim Porter Jr. are both positioned for big breakout seasons after a really, I would call them, encouraging years coming off the bench. They've retooled a lot of spots, but you've still got the same core tenets of this group, and that's Assad Drayton, that's Levin Cutler, and he might not be considered an elite player, but for this system, JoJo Kearney. This team is going to come back. They're going to play defense. They've got point of attack defense. If they don't get to a SimWorld championship, I do think that's a pretty massive disappointment, whether that's internal or external. The expectations of this team are high. They've got a coach that's well respected, might be the best strategic coach in the league based off all that he did last season, and of course they won it. So if they can't get back to the promised land and win it, be the first team ever to repeat, again, early history, but someone's got to do it first. They could do it. I think that's the 5th most disappointing outcome of the season. 4th most, I've got H-Town Hoopers. They had an active offseason. I would say maybe the most active, probably second most actually, active offseason in terms of this roster completely changing over and the type of changeover that they had. You bring in a new coach, Coach Bilardi. You bring in a new star, Corey Yams. This is a redemption year for both of them. I think there's been a lot of inaccurate, in my opinion, moniker giving to Bilardi about being a flameout, about chasing talent. As I've said before, every coach chases talent. Some of them just try to bring it in. I'm not saying Bilardi didn't do that. He obviously did. But his departure from Gotham had nothing to do with him. That was a poor decision, as I said at the time. But these are two people that are capable of reconfiguring their legacy. And again, this is prep ball. Your legacy does not extend beyond that. But there's still something at stake here, man. There's still something at stake for both of these people to step in and establish themselves. Bilardi reestablished himself as potentially the best coach in the league, and Corey Yams to showcase his ability. Corey Yams has a lot of great skill sets in his tool belt. Colleges are interested in him. What he hasn't shown, or rather what he hasn't had the ability to show, is the chance to be the number one guy, and that's what he can now do. So if he can take this team off to win a championship, that's a huge positive to his future prospects. And if they can't get there because there's a lot of hype around this team, I think that's more disappointing. You could make the case, but it's so hard to repeat, and we're going to get to that in a little bit, but it's so hard to repeat as a champion. Every single team that wins a title is going to say, hey, we're ready to get back there and do it again. You know how hard that is? People don't repeat. It just doesn't happen in sports all that often. And so I think that's why I'm putting Beast below H-Town because there's a little bit more hype around H-Town. They haven't won anything yet. You've got a coach and a player who haven't won anything yet. They've been in good situations. This would cement their talent level and their skill set here at the prep level. Number 3, the Originators. They've loaded up again with elite talent. One season after getting DJ Wagner, they get Cooper Flag. It would be incredible if they can have elite talents like Wagner and Flag and not win a championship. Not make a finals even between the two of them. That would be disappointing. So I think for the Originators, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake for Coach Dodge, who I think is a really good coach. To be able to say, I can get great talent, and I can elevate them to a consistent and a championship level. Players are trying to move on to college. I'm going to go out on a limb and say a lot of these coaches here, and I'm not saying this is specific about Coach Dodge, but a lot of these coaches want to move on to the next level coaching as well. Part of that graduation is being able to show you can make talent better and win while you're doing it. And that's what's at stake right here for Coach Dodge. Number 2, I've got Bay Area. This team is still loaded with talent. They might have the best player in the league. But have you noticed that the talk around them is a lot different this year? It's a lot different. There's a lot more. We're changed. We're more focused. I'm not saying that Royce Anderson or Xavier Pope or any of the guys that were on the roster a year ago were negative in the locker room. I'm not implying that. But it's fascinating to hear from some of their notable players, especially Trey Hyman, that they feel like this team is different. And it was pretty highly regarded a year ago. So you've got this elite talent, you've got this carryover, you've got them expressing that they learned from everything. Coach Pope learning, hey, look, last season, it wasn't what we wanted. There was a lot of chefs in the kitchen. We've got a more streamlined approach. If that still doesn't pay off with a championship, I think that's the second most disappointing outcome. And then the most disappointing team if they don't win a championship is the Southeast Select. Look, I love it. I said it earlier. I love it when teams get back, or they lose a championship, they don't worry, we're going to be back. You sure about that? You sure about that? It doesn't happen, man. It doesn't happen all that often. And so for Southeast Select, not only do you get back, but you Buffalo Bills it, you Portland Trailblazers, or you Utah Jazz it, you get back again, and you still can't win it. If they don't get there, when they don't win it, I think that's the most disappointing because you have guys that are now, they've been to 2 of those games. They've been to consecutive championship games. You've got a coach that's taken them to consecutive championship games, and they still haven't gotten it done. There's nothing more disappointing than going that far and coming up short. In my opinion, and this will be a hot take, maybe, I'd rather just get to 1 and lose than get to multiple and lose. And I can say that from experience of having made multiple championship games in my athletic career back-to-back and losing both of them. It was fun, but I'll tell you right freaking now, man, that second one sucked. That second one sucked. So you get to 1 and you lose, and it's like, dang, that was unfortunate. But I can look back now and tell you it is what it is. I'm really glad I made 2, but I can tell you in the moment, the days, the weeks, and the months after that second championship loss, that was the worst feeling that you can feel as an athlete. And if they get there and they don't get it done, and then you still have a chance at redemption, a lot of this core team has a chance at redemption, you still don't go out and redeem yourselves, that's the most disappointing thing. All right, we're back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you then.